And I just got lucky that I had the right look at the right time, which is a big part of finding an agency. Like, you could be the most beautiful person in the world, but if they already have you, they don't need you, you know? And you're a realtor who used to act, you know?
Yeah.
So I think you have to be really careful with what your side job is, because if it's at all enticing or comfortable, that hustle, that fire is going to be gone.
Yeah. Welcome everyone to 1000 Failures. This is episode 8. I'm your host, Darius Marcellin, and this is Becoming an Actor. So happy to have everyone locked on because I've seen this show grow just as much as I have in the past 7 episodes, and it's been phenomenal. Today on my show, I have Michael Gabel coming on, and he's a professional model. And I know it's always something that you hear, I'm a model, but he actually is a professional model, aka his bills are paid by modeling and doing model and print jobs. He doesn't do walking down runways or anything like that on New York Fashion Week, but he does jobs that you see on your laptop when you go to buy something online, and he's that guy wearing the shorts or the polo t-shirt, and those jobs pay $1,500 a day minimum. So Michael's going to show you how he's become a professional model, and a lot of that has to do with him overcoming fear. And today's subtopic is overcoming fear. Man, fear is that one thing that keeps us back and keeps us in shackles on our feet and prevents us from moving towards our dreams or the life that we like to live, or traveling, or losing weight, or getting into acting, or putting out a music album that only 5 people listen to. Fear is something that keeps you back from doing your dream. And there are 2 types of people in this world. People who go after their dreams, people who could taste, feel, see their dreams, people who live their dreams. And then there are people who live a life full of fear, live a life full of being held back, live a life that they could never go after their dreams because the outside factors outweigh their desire to achieve their goals and their dreams. And fear is normal. People think that billionaires or the top actors in the world or the top singers in the world didn't have to overcome fear and still are not dealing with fear. Everybody deals with fear. And I think not enough people say that enough. Not enough people say that they're afraid. I'm going to say, for one, I was super afraid to move to Los Angeles at first. I was super afraid of the unknown. I was super afraid of being hungry. I was super afraid of not earning income. And when I booked my plane ticket, it was me just going head first into fear. And booking that plane ticket, I then started to figure everything out. I was like, okay, you have a plane ticket now, you have a date, now you can start figuring things out. And that's how you overcome fear, by doing some sort of action. So this week, I implore everybody listening to this episode to do one thing, even if it's to lose weight or start in the gym, and you're afraid that you'd fail, or you're afraid of failing yourself. You're afraid of everyone saying, "Yeah, look, you're trying again." Like, just go after it today. Go after yourself, making monologues as an actor, putting out self-tapes, and letting everybody see it. If you're an artist, a singer, go after yourself making a new album, putting it out there on SoundCloud, reposting it on Facebook or Instagram. Let people know who you are. Don't be afraid of yourself. If you have talent, put it out there. If you're a dancer, don't be afraid to take the next step or try something else. If you're a business owner, or if you want to open a business, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to have a business, start it, and it fail. Yeah, I'm not saying to go jump wild into opening a business without any sort of foundation. But I'm saying if it's your dream and your passion, do one thing slowly to work towards that dream and that goal. Just walk straight into fear and everything else will fall into place. So today, Michael's going to show you how he walked into fear to becoming a professional model and all the stuff that he had to deal with, and to show you that fear is normal and we all deal with fear. So just not a lot of people talk about it, but it's normal, it's there. I have fear, Michael across here has fear, and it's something that we all deal with. So it's okay to be afraid, just walk straight into it. And yeah, and if you're listening to this episode today, the only thing I could ask of you is if you could just reshare this on Instagram or leave a comment in the podcast app so that I know, what you had to overcome or how this episode helped you out a little bit. And that's it. We'll go straight into it. Michael's going to talk about how much professional models earn. He's going to give us some figures. He's going to tell us how he got started into it. And if you stay tuned to the end, we have, few secrets between Michael and I on to how we book jobs and the techniques that we use in castings to nail it or nail a callback. So with no more time wasted, I'm going to jump right into this podcast, episode 8, with my boy Michael. Michael, you ready? All right, let's do this.
Sweet.
Blast off.
We are live.
Nice. Cheers, man.
Michael, cheers, man.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I was listening to your podcast.
Yeah.
You have that silky voiceover voice.
I'm still getting used to hearing my voice. I don't do a ton of most of the commercial stuff I do, there's rarely any dialogue, so it's so bizarre hearing yourself and then going back and editing it and just trying to pretend like you're someone else, Yeah. It's a little stressful, but it's good. I think I also like focusing on just the way I speak and trying not to say you start to notice it the more you listen to it.
Right, from my first episode to now, I have seen me say like and a lot. Yeah. So it's a learning curve and we're both on this together.
For sure.
That's why I like too, that we're on this together, and a lot of people feel with this podcast, it's just people on your podcast, just people getting on this train, and we're all just riding it together. Some of us may be good at the front, and some of us may be good at stuff in the back, but we're all on this same train together. So it's kind of cool and it's relatable.
People say success is a ladder, but I think of it as a cargo net. So there's a million ways to the top, and you can kick someone in the face, you can give them a boost up, you can go side by side. So it's not this it's me or no one mentality. Right. We can all make it to the top. There's plenty of room. So it's nice to meet people who feel the same way.
Same.
Yeah.
How tell us about how you got to LA and your trip of being a male model. A male model.
So most people think you must have moved to LA to do this stuff, and I didn't at all.
Because you're pretty.
Or they just think models come to LA because there's, especially now in the age of Instagram, I think more and more people are coming to LA with stars in their eyes, so they just assume. But after college, I took a job in the Middle East in Jordan, working for a theme park design company.
I heard that on your podcast.
Yeah, which I was literally living the roller coaster tycoon lifestyle. It was crazy, and I studied architecture and fine art, so it was a chance to travel and be creative. I couldn't say no. But I also knew it wasn't really my dream, even though it was a dream job for someone. And my company was opening an office in LA because the whole theme park industry is here. So I sort of finagled a way to get transferred to LA. And my secret plan was to do my time in LA at the company, then try to maybe move towards production design and get on set and see what I liked about being on set and if I really wanted to take the leap into the talent stuff. And I sort of just skipped that step. I ended up quitting my job at the theme park company to finish the book I was writing. And while I was finishing that book, I was kind of doing some side hustles like freelance graphic design, web design, just putting my creative talents to use. And then fell into modeling and just ran with it.
What age were you when you came across to LA?
I was 20, I think I turned 24 right after I moved to LA, so 23, 24.
Oh, that's young.
Yeah, but also think about people who start modeling at 13, 15, 18, it's late in the game for...
But even you having a serious job, like LA having a serious job is like a big deal because no one has, I was telling someone recently, is like no one has a direct deposit every 15 days to your bank account and
or 9 to 5 commute.
Right. It's always a you live as you go kind of thing, and it's like that hustle. And we're gonna talk about we met on a set, and we're gonna talk about how the life is of that hustle and how you took the leap of faith, and it's like you don't mind.
No,
you're with it. You're rocking with it. So
no, I like it.
So you moved to LA.
Yep.
And you did a web design thing. You got into modeling and.
Yep, just through friends. I have a friend. Actually, I'm doing a podcast tonight with my buddy who's a photographer. His girlfriend's a model at Wilhelmina. They both are killing it. And his girlfriend, his wife now, was like, "Oh, the Skechers is looking for this extra runner one day on set. Like, can you do a job for $500?" And I was like, yeah, I'll do a job for $500. And that was my first job. And it was me and 6 other professional models. And I was like, oh, I'm in the big leagues here. Yeah. So I just stepped it up, hit my marks, and then got an agent from that creative director from Skechers. And then, it's been years of building up my portfolio. And now I'm a full-time model. So
did you have that stigma of you had your 9-to-5 job, but becoming a male model, that doesn't sound masculine. Yeah. For a lot of dudes, it's like that doesn't sound too masculine, but there's a market for us because no one thinks that everyone thinks it's so not that masculine. I won't say it's not feminine, but it's not also what we think of to be masculine thing to do.
Yeah, it's not like you're not working with your hands, you're not doing construction, you're not
kicking a ball.
People don't think you're using your brain. I come from a pretty academic background. Both my parents are doctors, so when people when I tell people I'm a model, it's like I can see in their eyes oh, this guy's dumb, this guy's a dick, he's just vain. Right. And I'm not. I'm smart and I work hard and I just have a job that's a lot of fun, and people don't understand that about it. They don't get that.
I can't wait to talk about how fun this shit is.
Yeah, it's we met on set and we had a great time, and now we're doing a podcast because we're both happy and stoked on our lives.
It's 2:12 on Monday afternoon. We are doing this right now, right?
Yeah, we're not at work.
We're not at work.
But we also are at work, yeah.
So it's good and bad because people think this is, I won't give it 2 sides. People think that this is glamorous. Not being in an office is glamorous. Yeah. But for us, we still live a life on the edge where nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed. The next week isn't guaranteed. Yeah. I asked you, what was your next job? And you're like, I don't know, I might have this, but then after that, I don't know, Yeah. So nothing's guaranteed. But whereas if you have a 9-to-5 job, you do what you're supposed to do, it's guaranteed.
Right.
So it's a double-edged sword.
And you say it's Monday, and I had a long weekend, and I was with my girlfriend, and I was playing baseball and doing weekend stuff. And then Monday rolls around, and I have one casting and a podcast, and I'm like, shit. I wish you kind of wish you had a guaranteed work waiting for you. But that hunger and that eagerness to work is what I think. What I fall back on. I'm doing what I want to do. I want the work. Yeah. I'm not great. I have nothing to do Monday. This casting, I'm gonna skip it. Yeah. I want more work. Yeah. So that's
casting agencies. We want more work over here.
Yeah. By the way, I'm available to pop in. I'll rip this microphone off.
Yeah. So all right, you signing up to be a model. Yeah. What is that like? You have to take pictures, turn left, turn right.
Yeah, so at first I started with a fitness agency, and they brought me in. I had long hair at the time.
Was that from Skechers?
That was from Skechers. Right, cool. And they brought me in, and I had a man bun at the time. That was when the man bun thing was just taken off.
What year was that?
This is 2012.
Man bun was taken off. So
I was at the forefront of it, yeah. And they're like, we like your look. You have scruff. You have a long hair. You're kind of a lean. I was a lot skinnier then. You're a lean runner. And I just got lucky that I had the right look at the right time, which is a big part of finding an agency. You could be the most beautiful person in the world, but if they already have you, they don't need you, Cool. So, and they were like, yeah, give us photos of whatever you have, whatever sports you can do, rock climbing, biking, And so this is 2012. Instagram wasn't what it is now, so no one had really good photos of themselves. Right. It was all from Facebook profile photo. You know, no one had good photos. So when I look back at the photos I sent in to them at first, they're so bad. It's like, it's a joke. But they saw some promise in me, and then I booked a few jobs. And then it's that game of you gotta shoot the work you want to book. So you got to work with photographers to do test shoots where it's they get the images for their portfolio, you get the images for your portfolio. No one pays any money, but you need the images in your portfolio that represent what you can do, what your skills are, but also what kind of jobs you want. So if you want to shoot with running companies, you have to have running photos that look like ads, showcase your form, showcase your look, your physicality, your musculature, because they're not going to see you as just a guy on the street in normal clothes and say, I bet he'd look great in running shorts, you know, like as the sun is rising over the mountains. Like you need to show them that you can do that before they take a chance on you, because there's a lot of money on the line in ads, and modeling, like they don't want to take risks. It's just like acting, where everything has to be based on an already proven product. That's why everything's based on this TV show or this book that was already successful, because they don't want to take risks, you know?
All right. So in order for you to start your modeling career, you have to have those looks that look exactly like the jobs you want to go for.
You got to start moving towards that.
So you have to if I were starting off, I would have to do test shoots. Because I hear test shoots before. I'm not in that modeling world. Yeah. So I hear test shoots.
You are, but you say you're not.
Yeah, we're battling with this again. That test shoot, so you have to set up test shoots.
Yeah, and your agency will help with that, but also just reaching out on Instagram, connecting with photographers whose work you like, and saying, hey, are you looking to do a test? And like they might need, like, oh, I want to do this outdoorsy shoot that looks like a Jeep ad. And if you do that for me, then I'll take some running photos for you. And it's just like, it's just connections. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And those shots, your agent takes those shots, and then they send them to the ad companies?
Yeah, they put them in your portfolio, and so when they're submitting, a client calls and says, show us 10 runners. And they have to they say, here's our 10 best runners, here are their portfolios. And then they pick, and then you might get a direct booking that way. Or you might use one of those photos as your profile photo on a casting website. And then, it's like LA Casting or whatever. So they see you running, and it's a running commercial, and then they bring you in for an audition. But you got to have the first image to get you in the door, no matter what.
Right. So you understood that, or your agent helped you understand?
I mean, I thought, when I signed with my sports agency, SLU, I was like, well, I'm a model now. I'm just going to be, I had no clue how it worked. You think, oh, they just realized I'm beautiful. And like, now I'm a model, I'm going to make a ton of money and be on billboards. But maybe that happens for some people. You hear about like Giselle getting discovered in a McDonald's in Brazil when she was 14, but it didn't happen for me that way. I had to figure out that there's 90% of the work is on my end before, and then the 10% of the work is what I get paid for. So it's a lot of hustle. Yeah.
Yeah. I had no clue about the test shoot. And I hear people say test shots, and I'm like, I'd have to go down to downtown to shoot.
Yeah, it's free. Right. You gotta skip a casting. You gotta block out time.
Right. So as an actor, the reason why I thought you'd be such a good fit, and you're not nowhere close to being. You don't even want to be in the acting space, or like that's not your main focus.
It's not my main focus right now.
Focus, but you're open to it, and it shows that like modeling is another avenue that you could fuse it to. Yeah. Because modeling goes from print to also commercials,
work.
And then being on sets with commercial work, it then could translate to even more stuff.
Yeah.
What's your thought process, and what's your plan in terms of like your career? I know you're doing like your print work and your commercial work. Yeah. Is doing TV and film something that you're thinking of, or like you're thinking to do a little bit more?
I mean, so when I was a kid, I was in St. Louis, Missouri, which is nowhere near Hollywood.
Right.
But I remember when I was a kid, there were two things I wanted to be. I wanted to be a jet pilot, or like, because I saw Top Gun and I was like, I want to do that.
Right.
Or I wanted to be an actor. And I knew nothing about how it worked. I didn't even think it was a possibility, but it's just one of those things as a kid, you see it and you're like, I want to be on there. Right. And I remember I went to camp. I went to this circus camp. I was an only child, so I went to all these weird camps. And there was this kid who we'd always catch him picking his nose, so we called him Booger Boy. And we're mean kids. Like we made fun of him. But then there was an ad for a local car commercial on TV, and I saw him in the ad, and I was so jealous of him. And like it's just that feeling of like just raw envy. Where I was like, even this kid, like Booger Boy, like he's doing something I want to be doing.
Right.
And then I took drama classes in middle school and high school, and I had teachers who said, "You're really good at this. Like you should audition for plays or get into children's theater." And we just didn't know how it worked, so we never really pursued it. And then I took an acting class at the end of college, and I kind of always wanted to do it, was a little too scared. Didn't think it was a realistic, path.
Right.
And halfway through the class, we sat down for our midterm review, and the professor was like, I was a little worried about you at first. You kind of came in like you were too cool for school. I was, older than everyone. And he's like, but you're good at this. He's like, you could do this if you want to, but that's the key. You have to want to. And that just kind of kept that little spark while I went to Jordan to work in theme park design. And still in the back of my mind was like, I want to get on set and see if I can do this thing.
Right.
And yeah, I act in commercials, which is the lowest rung of acting. But look at any celebrity's career. Like Leonardo DiCaprio was in a cheese commercial when he was 10. And then he was on a TV show, and then Gilbert Grape and Titanic. And, a lot of people move to LA and they think they're going to be Brad Pitt overnight. But there's very clear steps up that, rungs up that cargo net of success. So.
And as well, too, commercial work.
Yeah.
I would say, I was telling somebody, like, if you took a percentage of people if I'm a professional commercial actor, and if I'm not even talking about TV, but just feature films and movies, and if I'm a movie actor, you probably make more money as a commercial actor. And this could go into a long debate behind the back ends of what's residuals, but
yeah, it's changing.
Looking at what I've made on commercials and what you get paid on a day rate of, unless you're like a big A-list or B-list star,
like a series regular,
a lump sum just in a feature film movie. Unless you're getting that up front, you're most probably not going to get a back end on the movie, and you get that one thing, and you may not work again for a long period of time.
Yeah.
You probably might end up doing plays and stuff and making small money, but as a commercial actor, there's always a commercial shoot every single day, and once you get that one, everyone in this industry knows what that one is. That one national commercial,
game changer.
That could go well as 5 figures, well into sometimes into 6 figures.
Yep. That's rent. That's rent for a year more.
That's rent for a year. And a lot of people don't. I did not know that. Well, and I lived in New York City. I did not know that when I moved to LA, like how much commercials paid. And it's also a gap to get into this industry and understand.
Sure.
This is a set. I'm a principal now. I'm the lead guy on this commercial.
Yeah, it's SAG, national versus non-union,
Right.
which is changing because those nationals that pay 5 figures are much rarer these days,
Right.
which is a whole debate with the union and whatnot.
Right.
But they happen.
Right.
I've been lucky enough to book a couple, and you're like, this is gonna, that worry of when's my next job coming kind of goes away because you got some money in the bank. And
what was it? What was the biggest one for you?
So I booked a Ford commercial, and
shout out to Ford.
Yeah, Ford. And then there's so many steps because so you have the audition, then you have the callback, then you're on a veil, then you get the booking, then you get to set, and it's like if you don't make the cut into the commercial, if you get edited out, you're not gonna get paid. Yeah. So you've booked a national, but you have to wait for it to come out. And I waited for months. It didn't come out, and I was like, okay, well, I booked one. I got my day rate. Maybe I didn't make 5 figures, but feels good to have booked one. Right. And then a month later, I saw myself in 5 different commercials because they had cut it into 5, and that's when checks just start coming, and you're like, oh, like thank God,
Right. So just to get it inside, I don't need the exact figure, but just give me a range from what a check is like.
Yeah.
Just so people don't understand.
Yeah.
What a check is like from a commercial.
I got my day rate, and then that was the first check.
Right, so that's
so
you get like a day rate,
which is $700 or
right.
whatever.
You get everyone gets like the basic SAG day rate. You get like $100 or $200 for wardrobe fittings or whatever. Yeah. But then the money comes in when it airs.
When it airs, and then the more they use it, the more checks you get. So I got 3 checks over maybe 3 to 6 months that easily paid my rent for 2 years. So rent's not cheap in LA. So it's a lot of money, Right.
So, so you hear that.
Yeah.
So
and that's a day of work. That's one day of work.
That's one day of work. And that's why I feel like this information is now more broad and more privy to everyone, because you see basketball players doing commercials. They're taking all our jobs. Basketball players are doing it. All the singers are on ads. Actors are now doing commercials.
Yeah, like your favorite actor from a TV show, you'll see doing an insurance commercial.
Right, and a lot of times we never really saw that. It was just the regular Joes, regular us doing it. And it's cool. There's a lot of media out there, and I think because of social media, we also do get stuff for Instagram. Like I have done stuff that shows on Instagram only. You know, I did like W Hotels. I just do all their like social media, so I'll be on their W Hotel social media, and I get paid for that.
And there's a ton of that. It's all online only, social media only. It's hard to find, but at the end of the day, you're on set. You're learning about hitting marks, working with other actors with dialogue. You know, just the simple things like, where's your light? If you're not in your light, doesn't matter how good your take was, it's worthless. So just getting those reps in of being on set, you know, on commercials where it's a little lower stakes, and then moving towards, you know, your first co-star roles on TV shows, and then you start to get the, you know, the guest star roles, and I'm sort of at the point where I don't have those credits yet. I have a theatrical agent, but it's that ultimate catch-22 where you need credits to get credits. So those first ones, like, you just have to be in the right place at the right time, where the director sees you, he's like, oh, that's the guy. That's like the...
You look like the guy, you know?
And it's like you have one line that anyone can say, but that's the problem. Anyone can say it.
Those co-stars break you into this industry. You've seen it more and more, like those are the ones that break you in. And people who don't know a co-star is just like the smallest role that you get on a TV episode.
Usually on less than 5 lines.
It would be like the waiter come and say, do you want ice with that? You know, or the bartender say like another one. And so something
it's the hardest roles to get.
But it's crazy how you could do a short film and be a lead in it, and then a co-star with like a big TV show, and you just had one line could bump you up into this industry, and that's it. And that's that breakthrough you're looking for, you know?
Yeah. So I haven't gotten that breakthrough yet. And, you know, there's a part of me that's like, oh, I like modeling. I like commercials. I like being anonymous.
Right.
And, you know, but it's also like, it's easy to say that when you haven't been given the opportunity to be a serious regular.
It's like, now, do I want anonymous, or do I want
no, it's not for me. It's not for me. But like, so, you know.
Serious regular is not for me.
Yeah. I don't have the time.
I like being anonymous.
Yeah.
I'm just in LA to be anonymous. Oh, yeah. So that's about, like, I guess I'm on the actor side, you're the model side. We're like, I'm like dipping my feet into your shoes.
Yeah.
And my modeling experience is I've never been on a runway, so it's not like I've been on a runway before. Have you been on a runway?
Little bit. That's only one side of modeling, and that's more New York than anything, more fashion.
Right.
Yeah, most of it's print stuff, like e-commerce, where it's just you in front of a white background. When you go to the Levi's website and you pick out a pair of pants, like the guy waist down who's wearing them, that a lot of people make a lot of money just doing that, you know, wearing 60 pairs of pants.
I actually have to go to, I guess it's like an ad agency or an agency after this. You probably got the same email as me because we have the same modeling agent.
Yeah.
I'm going over there to go drop my comp card there.
Oh, for Prana?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, like
I went there earlier and people were waiting for 2 hours. So
I just want to drop my at 4:30. Just drop my comp card in there. So,
it's a real cattle call.
Yeah.
Those ones are kind of soul crushing.
I've never done those before.
Yeah.
I've never done a cattle call before.
Yeah.
But I'm down to do everything and try it out and just get the experience of it.
Yeah, you never know.
But yeah, just getting into that space, I've realized that just doing this e-commerce work, like you would not think like a regular Joe from Missouri before you moved doesn't think of when I go on a website, that's actually an opportunity for work. That guy who I'm picking the clothes off of, that guy's getting paid, and he can make a living off of that.
Yeah. And in the modeling world, e-commerce work is really consistent. So if you get in with a client that likes you, you might be working with them 3 days a week, 4 days a week more, and they're paying you a good day rate as opposed to booking a job here, a job there, and kind of being a mercenary. You know, my friend, she did that for Zappos and bought a house. So like that's like that kind of consistent work is what you really want in the modeling world.
How do you get a relationship with somebody that they like you?
I mean, part of it is being good at what you do, knowing what they're looking for in terms, if it's e-com, knowing the tone of the website. Are people smiling? Are they looking serious? Like, well, how many turns are they doing? How much dynamic motion is there? That's one aspect of it. And the other is just are you enjoyable to spend 12 hours with? You know, if they're gonna fly you, like I go to San Francisco for Levi's a lot, and like if they're gonna fly you up there and put you up in a hotel, spend 12 hours on set with you, like, are you annoying? Are you nice? Do you say please and thank you? Do you like snap at attention when they need you on set? You know, it's just being a good person and a good model. I think that's what it comes down to, and that's the basis of my podcast, model behavior. It's like be a good model, but also just be a good person.
Yeah, let's talk about model behavior. And
Yeah.
like, I guess it's like a tutorial for the life for me, because like a lot of stuff you spoke about in your first episode, the girl that you had on the second episode,
Steph,
you guys knew each other, and just like getting your vibe and modeling. I feel like anyone who's moving to LA should listen to your podcast as well, because modeling is a gap. If you get into acting, I mean, like modeling is a way that you could just keep working and keep doing stuff, and getting into e-commerce. And it doesn't matter how you look. I feel like everyone thinks that you have to have that chisel face. You have to have that everything.
I mean, modeling is everyone from a grandma to a baby. You know, if you see an ad for a phone company and it's a family sitting on a couch like enjoying their iPad, every single one of those people is a lifestyle model who got booked from an audition or from a modeling agency. And yeah, it's a great side job if you're trying to get into acting. You don't have to wait tables, and you don't have to, you know, have someone cover your shift when you book a job or when you have to go to an audition. You know, you can pick up a job here and a job there and cover your rent and still be getting that experience on set, which reinforces what you're trying to do. Right. So I think it's a good, you know, it's a hustle, but so is everything here. So what's a hustle that's going to help you in the long run?
Right. What's the biggest hustle in starting off? Was it getting the shots, getting the agent?
Yeah.
What's like the biggest hustle? Like I'm in it, so where I'm to the point that, all right, I have shots, I have campaign stuff done, and I feel comfortable where I'm earning decent money per month from modeling. But if I was just moving to LA, like me, I got into it luckily, but moving to LA, what would be preparing myself? What would you tell me to prepare myself for if I was getting into acting and then modeling as a backup for income? What would be like the grind?
So the hardest hustle is people are always like, do you have an agent? Like, have you gotten an agent yet? Because an agent's who's going to help you get the big, like, you know, big day rate jobs. But there are ways to book work and start to build your portfolio without an agent. So you can go to websites like LA Casting or Actors Access, have a friend take a couple headshots of you in a few different looks, you know, sporty, business, casual, and then just start self-submitting to jobs. And there'll be jobs that are $200 up to like national commercials that will cast looking for random people because they never know what they're going to find. They want to find the next like unicorn who just kills it in a commercial, and then, you know, they don't have to pay an agency rate too. So you can start booking little jobs for yourself. And some of those websites have an option where if you're unrepresented, you can be entered into a pool where agents can see you and you can get signed that way. But just getting that first kind of backlog of work and portfolio built up will drastically increase your chances of getting an agent in the long run and just booking more work as you continue. And there's plenty of people who do that full time, just find their own work or do it on the side of having an agency, you know? So that's a big part of it. And then the other part is the audition process, because auditioning is not acting, it's its own skill set. And figuring out what to do in an audition room, what to do in a callback room. There's just little tiny tricks and tips that can help you, you know, put your best foot forward. And some of that is classes and you know.
Do you plan, like on your podcast show, do you give tips on, like you're gonna plan to do that on your series?
Yeah. I think it's important to help people with because the auditioning process, it makes no sense and you get no feedback. You know, you walk in, you're like, I killed it. I just had this audition for a Taco Bell commercial where they were looking for like a CW Riverdale type high school quarterback. So like we want him to look too old. And I was like, I'm too old. And I looked like an all-American quarterback. And I walked in the audition and like our group was like vibing really well and the scene went really well. And I walked it I was like, definitely call back. Nothing. You know, and it's just like, so you're like, how can I learn, you know, from my mistakes? Or did I make a mistake? Did they want a black guy? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So part of that is just learning.
You never know. You never know. I think like you might learn when you book something, which is like tough to say because you're gonna book 2%. You're gonna do you are going to do 100 different auditions and castings.
Oh yeah.
and you might. Might.
It's crazy.
But it's like the odds are just not in your favor. They start to get in your favor. I realized like end of like last year. This is like in my first year, end of my first year in LA. I knew how to get callbacks. It sounds I learned how to get callbacks. I learned what they were looking for. I learned to pay attention while I was there.
Yeah.
And
just listen to what they're saying.
Asking questions, being more comfortable in the room. Like when you get there, you're all tense. Like you have to realize, the more I understood the business of it, of what they want and what their job is, and I had casting directors on here, had agents on my show, and they all say the same thing. It's like they are paid a job, so the casting directors are paid to just get that first good batch.
They want you to be the guy. So you do one take, and he's like, just do it a little. He wants to help you. Right. He's giving you all the information you need. So if you listen to him and keep your face towards the camera because they need to see you, you know, it's not much more than that.
Yeah, but some of us will be like, oh, I'm scared. I'm doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And you might not be doing the wrong thing. He might just be looking for a different angle. So when he sends it, the casting directors send these commercial auditions or these modeling auditions to the actual clients who hire them.
Yeah.
So they want the best footage.
They want what they want.
Right, exactly.
That's why it's funny. So I walked out of that Taco Bell audition. I was like, that went exactly how I thought it should. Nailed it. Didn't get it. But when I walk out of an audition where I'm like, well, there's no chance I book that, I'll book it. Because, and I've talked to other models and actors about this, it's something about how when you think it went the way you wanted, it doesn't mean it went the way it was supposed to go.
Right.
So when you walk out being like, what the fuck just happened? It means what happened was what was supposed to happen. You just weren't sure of what they needed.
Right.
And they got it out of you, and you book it.
Right.
And I don't know how many times that's happened. And it's kind of drives me crazy, but it's pretty funny at the same time, you know?
I need to go and check my, I get all the auditions and stuff. I need to check. I'm going to check it soon, like what I did last year. I honestly think I did was 365 days in the year last year. I probably did like, I would say close to 100 or more auditions and castings. And then closer to the end, I knew how to get a little bit more callbacks. Like I just knew how to dress. And then I have a technique that I do where I have a list of facial expressions that I practice on my own. And I think this is a lot of actors should do that. I'm gonna put it out there, but even if a lot of commercials, they try to get emotions with no smiling with teeth. So they will tell you like enjoy it, but don't be like laughing with big teeth. You know, and just sitting in the mirror in the bathroom and you practice some of those where it's like you are anxious, you open your eyes and they're like, you practice that. When you get into the room and they tell you, I booked a commercial because they said make these subtle changes, but I practiced that before.
So you're like a mental mirror. You could look in.
I just know, and they say anxious or he's like surprised, but it's not like over the top. It's just simple, subtle things because on a commercial spot, it's 30 seconds. They don't have time for you to get up and be all anxious and surprised and then come back down. It's just right there in your face.
And if it's in a close-up, they don't want... I just did a commercial where we were shooting all day. I was working with a dog, like running around, and the final shot was an extreme close-up where I had to smile into the camera, and the client's watching on the monitor, and like they had such specific notes for me that I forgot how my face worked. They're like, keep your eyebrow, because my eyebrow always goes up, and like, they're like, keep that eyebrow down, but smile, but no teeth, but maybe a little bit of teeth. And like, I just started being like, I don't know how to smile. Like, I can't do this. So it's
Smiling
good.
Then becomes hard. You know?
So it's good to practice because then you know, okay, I know what that looks like. I've looked in the mirror and done that 100 times. I can bang that out. Because I know Jim Carrey like practiced moving every muscle in his face, and you know, certain actors say, Anthony Hopkins says like, just know how to use your face because you don't have a mirror to look in when the camera's in your face. You know, that's smart.
Yeah, so I practice those things, and I think that will help every like commercial actor. It helps you not to freeze up because you're gonna freeze up when you get into your like first 10 auditions, and then they say, okay, act surprised, but then the dog is leaving, so know you're sad, and you're like, all right, what's my sad? What's my anxious? You need these tools. Like those are the tools that you definitely need. Those tools, like that making those expressions, you have to practice that in the mirror. I would say when it's a season, when you see yourself going out a lot, practice that in the mirror, sit in the mirror, practice that in the bathroom every day. Like you have to have like 10 expressions that you could play with and you could do on the spot. and change that. It's not so, you don't have to be loud and grand. And
Right.
it's just right here, solid, because it's right here.
Especially in commercial auditions, like, we rarely have lines, we rarely
Right.
have dialogue.
Right.
You rarely know what the scene is. You walk in and they just
act through your eyes.
Yeah, they call it the voice of God. The guy behind the camera is just like, okay, you're driving. It's like, oh, there's a tree in the road. And you're like, how do you react to that tree? This is the first you're hearing of it, but also within the tone. There's a lot to think about. So practice makes perfect.
And you would put yourself, so let's just say you were in a audition with like 300 actors.
Yeah.
I guarantee you only like 30, 40 of them are gonna have that switch up.
Sure.
And it'll just probably be the seasoned guys.
Yeah.
That'll have the switch up. That would be able. Those will be guys who do like the car ads or the insurance ones. Or just the people who get like the national ones will be the guys who are used to like doing that switch up.
Yeah.
And the newbies are just gonna be freeze up or like smile too much or like
too big.
Too much, So and that's cool for like the McDonald's. Like the McDonald's and these things, they might get a loud guy or like that happy big guy smile. But the main national commercials, I feel like you have to have that switch up.
Subtlety is key.
Subtlety, yeah.
I mean, you watch these being a car guy, like the guy in the Lexus, like they're barely doing anything. And it's just like
that was actually me last year.
Yeah, good for you, man. That's the best.
Yeah, it was tough. Actually, I did on that set on Lexus. The director had a walkie in the back seat, and he was like, "Big smile, then smaller, then you're looking surprised." And this time, I'm driving down a hill. They had a stunt driver teach me before driving down a hill, smog in my face, camera right in front of it. I could barely see the road.
Yeah.
But now I'm making these expressions of like feeling this. There's a whole production team watching it in Vallejo Village.
Yeah.
Like 20 people down there. And I am just holding steady, not panicking, doing what I have to do. It's like 2 a.m. in the morning. It's cold. And that was for probably 6 to 10 seconds of TV time.
Yep.
2 days.
Yeah.
So...
so when you're in that kind of situation, I mean, you have more of a trained actor background than I do. Are you relying on the fact that you know how to control your face? Or are you visualizing? Are you thinking the thoughts of the character? What combination of tools are you using in a situation like that? Yeah,
I use that technique I use to get the close expression. So I have that there. So I don't know. So I don't have to wait till I get on set to practice. This is how I smile with no teeth.
Yeah.
I know how to smile before with no teeth. Right. I know how to look anxious without raising my eyebrows too wide. I just know the subtle things. So I have those tools. I come on that set with those tools. And then I would say as an actor, I would then put myself in a situation. I'm a method actor, so I would think of times when I was super surprised. I would think of like, what would it surprise me? Yeah. So then I didn't get that, like this right here, and then I think of something that's so sweet. If I have to give like a nice sweet smile, and I'll concentrate. And I'm a professional, so I know every single take I'm gonna give it to them every single time. Yeah. But yeah, it's a combination of both. And the hardest part was just being calm because I couldn't see the road, but it had smog, and the camera was right in front of me. And then the director is shouting in my car. He's like in the back seat, and on the walkie. He's like, "Yes, more of this, less this." Same thing as you were saying. And I said to myself when I was done, I think I was like, if I panic, like we would crash this shit, right?
Yeah, I mean, and part of that's so cool because you kind of feel like you're shooting an action movie,
I did.
It's the same thing.
I did.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I did. It was pretty cool. So that was like my take on that. So just me grinding as a commercial model actor. Commercial model.
It's all the same shit.
All right, yeah. I was battling with you saying that I am not a model.
Yeah.
But you're like, you're a model, you're here, you're a model.
Yeah, you're a professional, you're getting paid.
I'm getting paid, so I'll take it. I'll take the checks. What's life like apart from, you're a professional model, that's your job. What's that like stigma like apart from this? You go to like your girlfriend's family and what they say, you're a model. Is it like a good feeling or like sometimes just saying that you're not a 9-to-5 job to like, your girlfriend's family? Yeah. Or just sometimes you go to your family thing. Like that stigma sometimes is like good and it's like bad. How you deal with like the bad part?
I mean, I come from Yeah, I went to school in the Northeast in New England where like everyone's a lawyer, a doctor. Like I was talking to my girlfriend, she's like, "How many of your friends are doctors?" I was like, "Most of them." Like they're all in prestigious, sort of normal jobs. And so there's an element of my job's cool. I'm a model. It's different. That's something they could never even imagine doing. But the other part is like, do I seem like I'm not putting my brain to use? And that's something that Steph talked about on my podcast, where she's like, I hate saying I'm a model because it makes me sound like I don't use my brain.
I remember I said that.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why I always have, I have the book that I published a few years ago, and I'm just had an art show. So I'm always working on other things that sort of satisfy my need to be creative and to be intellectual. Because if I was just modeling, I don't think it would fulfill me. And that's why I'm able to say I'm a model, because when people ask what you do, they generally mean what pays your bills. And like my book doesn't pay my bills, and my art sometimes pays my bills, but I don't know. I have other outlets that allow me to be confident in that I know I'm, working to the fullest in every aspect of my personality, and I'm not just this like vain, fitness freak or whatever. So that's what sort of keeps me going and allows me to be comfortable.
But just saying that, like, you're a model, like, when people like, what do you do? I'm a model. Like, I think you have to reach a stage of confidence to say that, because everyone's next question is, what else do you do?
Right. Yeah.
Like,
always.
what else? Like, I don't tell a school teacher, oh, what do you do? I'm a school teacher.
Yeah.
What else do you do?
What else do you do?
I don't tell you that, but I could probably be making more than a school teacher makes. But no one says, like, why do I have to get the second to follow up?
Because most people aren't full-time models. Most people are Instagram models, or their friends have taken some photos of them, or they booked one job. I think it's the same as acting. I think 1% of SAG actors are full-time actors. So I think it's the same with modeling. I think maybe 1% of people who have modeled or claim to be a model are actually paying their bills through modeling. So I'm sure actors get the same, like, oh, I'm an actor. If I don't know who you are, it's like, okay, like, what restaurant do you work at? Didn't I see you serving me coffee the other day? Because it's hard to make it that full-time thing. And it's, again, it goes back to what my acting teacher said. He's like, you have to want it. If you don't want it, you're not going to have it.
But you said to me when we went and said that you made that decision, like, you wanted to be like a full-time model.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. And it took a while. I mean, I was doing the freelance design stuff, booking jobs here and there, and they kind of got in the way of each other, because I'd commit to a website design project, and then it would get in the way of a shoot that came up, and I couldn't deliver what I needed to for the website on time and also do the shoot. So I actually quit doing design. This was the biggest leap of faith I took. I quit doing the graphic design, which pays well, and I started driving Uber and modeling, because Uber gave me complete flexibility. And for a year, that was my hustle. And it just like filled in the gaps enough for me to take modeling full time. So,
but what pushed you to quit? Like, I feel like for you to quit, what was the factor? Like, there was something that pushed you to go to that next level? Because, like, taking that step of leaving that, like, there had to be something in there.
Because I had the chance to work on a couple different jobs that I couldn't believe I was getting paid to do the things I was doing. And graphic design's cool, but at the end of the day, I'm designing a logo for a company I don't care about, or and I'm sitting behind a computer dealing with a client and he's like, change this, change. And I'm like, no, like I'm better at this than you. Stop telling me what to do. You just get frustrated. And then meanwhile, I'm booking jobs where I'm going trail running on Mount Shasta or sandboarding in Death Valley, and I'm getting paid. And it's like, no, how do you want to live your life? What's going to fulfill you more? And so that's why I took the chance.
So I guess you actually booking those jobs gave you confidence, because you saw what the other side of the fence looked like.
Yeah, and I met people like Zach, who was on my podcast the first episode, who was doing it full time. And I was like, this guy's really good looking, and he's been at it longer than me, but if I put my mind to it, I'm pretty sure I can do it too.
Right. So I guess when people listen to this, they could probably think that they can make that leap of faith. Or people listen to your podcast, it might give them inspiration to do that. You think it's possible to become a full-time model as well as have your graphic design job? You think that was possible or not?
Maybe. I needed to. I don't do well with like a backup plan that's also a viable career. Like graphic design sort of made me happy, and it played into my creative side and my talents with Photoshop and all that different stuff. But those things become very comfortable very quickly. And you're like, well, the modeling thing's not going that well, and I'm making more money over here, so I'll just skip this casting and work on this project. And that's why I switched to Uber, because I don't want to be an Uber driver.
Right.
That has no appeal to me. It just was a way to make flexible money, and then I could pour myself into the modeling.
Right.
So for me, I couldn't have done it.
Right.
And my girlfriend at that same time, she is in a band now, but then she was working for a music management company, and she was on the way to being like an agent. And she liked it because it was close to music, and she got to work with cool bands and go to shows on the weekends and do research. But it was so close to what she really wanted to be doing and so comfortable. She's like, well, I guess I could just be an agent. She had to quit that job and start serving at a restaurant and go just like focus on being in the band.
Right.
Because otherwise, like that side, you see it all the time. People in LA who come here and they're like, no, I'll just get my real estate license. And then all of a sudden you're a realtor who used to act,
Yeah.
So I think you have to be really careful with what your side job is, because if it's at all enticing or comfortable, that hustle, that fire is going to be gone.
Yeah, and that plays, I feel like you see in that end of it all, because not a lot of people are going to taste that big job where they travel, they got paid to fly out somewhere. Most people are just going to get that $200 paid job in downtown to shoot for some small company or social media site or small business, and that's it. But when you taste that, I feel like that would push you to the next level. Or even hearing about Zach. And I've more and more lived in LA, meeting so many of you, the full-time models. Yeah. Which is like, I thought was a unicorn, and now it's like becoming more and more common. It's like a horse.
Yeah, we're out there.
It's like a white horse. It went from a unicorn to a white horse. Yeah. And I see like these full-time models and people doing cool stuff. And for us, like, I've been on cool jobs when I was like, wow, I'm actually just, the people are taking my photo. I never thought people would take my photo. So like, post on their thing and do stuff like
Idris Elbow over here.
I mean, I did like what they doing shooting like the W Hotel. It was just like so cool. I went to like Mexico and stayed on this resort, and they're just taking pictures of me. Yeah. And I'm just having fun, and it's like, wow, this is a Monday. This is so cool.
And I think you don't necessarily have to get those big jobs. Like, you don't have to fly to Mexico to get that taste of, oh, this is what it's going to be like, because it scales up. Like the first job you book, like the first job I did was, I made $500 and I was just running around a lake in LA. But the feeling I got when I went home with that check in my pocket, it scales up. That first job, you're like, what? Like, this is incredible. And if you have that feeling for your first job, the next job that's a little bigger, you're going to get even more. So I think it's just, you have to be in touch with how it makes you feel. And know that there is the possibility of those dream jobs because other people have done it. Yeah. And that's what will drive you towards it.
And what I think as well too is we surround ourselves with people in your industry, and you surround yourself with working people in your industry. Yeah. Even if it's you can't physically be around them or whatever. I think just getting on, even if you're an extra, just getting around, being on sets, getting into that vibe of being around models, being around actors. Even if you're, I think if you're a new actor coming to LA, you live in Missouri, you're moving out there, go be an extra.
Do extra work, absolutely.
Do extra work because
get on set.
Just being around that environment, it gives you the inspiration to like, want to make this something full time. Yeah. You see something, but if you're not around it and you're at home and you're just submitting only, you're not gonna get that vibe. And it's just like this is a real competition. I'll tell you as real as it gets. Like people, managers and agents will tell you in LA, don't go be an extra, whatever. I'm telling you, do it because they're telling you that because they want to book jobs.
They think you're going to get trapped, and if you want to, people can make six figures being an extra. Right. But it goes back to me being jealous
I'm going to bring an extra on here that makes 6 figures. That's what I'm going to do.
They have cars that they use just for extra work. Right. It's a full-time hustle, and if that's what you want to do, it's great. But like. Right. I did a couple extra jobs to get my first like union vouchers, and like you get on set and you're just you have different craft services. They feed you bologna sandwiches, But when you get on set and you see the principals running their lines and you see David Fincher, whoever's doing the episode that you're on, like if you feel that jealousy towards that person, you're in the right spot.
Yeah, that's that feeling.
Because you're not going to book a Scorsese feature. You're not going to fall into a dream job, but it's there, and if you want it, that's what that feeling of like. I want that. Like that's what you should follow.
Right. Yeah. So as you said, take the small jobs.
Yeah.
Take anything that you could, small things that you could get. And some people are like, oh my God, I'm so picky. I don't want to do this. And if that's your vibe, you're not gonna make it out here.
No, because it never gets. You're every day on. You're still on set. If you don't like being on set because you're not famous yet, guess what? You're not gonna like being on set when you are famous. You know, like people. You have to enjoy the day. Like most of being on a movie set is sitting in a trailer, sitting like under a tent waiting to do something. If you don't like that at the base level, you're not gonna like it at the top. So let me get in line.
Yeah. All right. So my podcast is called 1,000 Failures, and it's the angle that we are both prepared. You and I, Michael and Darius, are both prepared to fail 1,000 auditions, 1,000 times to get where we want to go. We are prepared to do that. What was one of the most like disappointing feelings, like a job that you wanted to get so bad, but then it pushed you to take you to that next level? Is there one job that you wanted to get so bad, you didn't get it, you didn't book it, or you were on Veil and they canceled it? Do you have that one failure or that one feeling?
I mean, the biggest one I have doesn't have to do with modeling. So when I moved out here and I was working on the book I wrote, and I quit the theme park design job to write this book, and I published the book, and then this producer found me and was like, I want to write this into a screenplay with you. And she's a big deal producer, and we spent 2 years working on this script and going back and forth, and I was like, this is it. Like, this is the story I care about most. Like, I'm going to get this movie made, and nothing happened. It just like kind of fizzled. And I had poured so much of my like value into the fact that I had to get this done that when it didn't happen, I was kind of like, well, what else am I going to do? I got nothing left in the tank. And then you just realize that just make something else. And then I started working on the modeling stuff and poured myself into that. And so I think it's not one specific failure. It's just about getting on with it. Like I've seen the callback dates come and go. Like that Taco Bell audition, I know that those were last Friday, and like I know I wasn't in that room, but it's like I can't dwell on it. So I've had 1,000 failures, and the most important one that to me is the next one I don't care about.
Right.
Because if you just keep caring about the failures, that's all you're going to be. It's a failure. So I don't know. Maybe it's not a great answer, but
no, man, it's real. It's real. And I feel the same way too. I've given up on caring on those failures, and I did one. When was it? Maybe last weekend. And I was like, you look at the callback date, and it's like, all right, I didn't make the callback date, and that's it. And then we're on to the next. Like we live week by week.
Yep.
I think we both live week by week. We live. We don't know what our Friday is going to be like. We don't know what our Wednesday is going to be like. It's Monday now. We have no clue. We're ready to go.
I know what tomorrow looks like, and that's about it.
Yeah, I know what tomorrow looks
that's all. I need one day. Just give me one day.
One day that's why. Just before we wrap up, like that's why I was telling someone on the next level why, like dating in LA and just people are just so flaky. I think it's because majority of us don't have that stable job where it comes into our bank account.
Yeah.
Money comes into our bank account. We just don't know, and we just get so used to not committing.
Right.
People in LA just don't commit.
You were talking about that in New York, where everyone knows they get off work at 5. I can get a drink with you at 7.
Right.
In LA, it's like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, it's like, I'll meet. Let's meet for drinks, and you never see somebody ever again in life.
Yeah.
Some people I've met the first week I came to LA. This is 2 years now. I haven't seen for the rest of my life.
And they probably live in this building.
And they probably live in this building, and it's so crazy, but. We live this life, this rogue life.
Yeah.
But to see that you bring some stability to it, you have uniformity to it, it's really remarkable. And for people looking at you, it's amazing model
Appreciate
behavior.
That.
So talk about your podcast.
My podcast is called Model Behavior, and it's just kind of what you said. It's about just trying to be a reliable, good person, because I think that's what gives you longevity in a town that's so flaky, or everyone's ready to jump to the next thing and commit. Like the grass is always greener, and this person, but then this girl on this app I'm talking to, what if she's better? And this, I could book this job, but what if I book that job? And it's just like, there's something to be said for picking a path and sticking to it and saying, I committed to this, and this is what I'm doing. So I don't know, just be a good person. That's what model behavior comes down to.
Hey,
be a good model, you know?
So model behavior is I subscribe to your podcast.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope. And can't wait for the next episode.
Awesome, man.
Love it.
Appreciate it, man.
All right.
Ooh.
That's
good.
I gotta learn that Cali one too.
Yeah.
All right, dope. Cut.
Yes, that was such an amazing episode. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for sharing the insights of the business, having everyone understand what really goes on, the stigma of being a male model, and that being a model isn't only walking down a runway. So thank you, Michael, for coming on here, overcoming fear to becoming a professional model, and just sharing your insights with everyone. Michael's podcast, Model Behavior, is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I listen to it, and it's pretty dope too. So sign up, subscribe to his own, and yeah, thank you, Michael. If you're listening to this podcast, all I ask of you is just to give it a rating or a review below. That helps me out, helps me bump up into the arts industry on podcast world. And let's do this again. Episode 9 will be coming up soon next week, Wednesday. Thank you. I'm Darius, signing out.